Welcome back to the channel, where the heart of wrestling beats loud and raw tonight. The Bloodline saga just exploded into a moment so gut-wrenching, so soul-shaking, that it's left the WWE Universe reeling. Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes saving Jacob Fatu after a brutal betrayal on SmackDown. Picture this, a family torn apart, a brother's loyalty shattered, and a shocking act of compassion in the chaos. This isn't just a storyline, it's a window into the real pain, love, and heartbreak behind the squared circle. The air in the arena was thick with tension as SmackDown's final moments unfolded. The Bloodline, once an unbreakable dynasty, stood fractured under the weight of Solo Sikoa's ambition. Jacob Fatu, the enforcer with a warrior's heart, lay battered in the ring, his body crumpled after a vicious attack by Tama Tonga and Tongaloa. The crowd gasped, their cheers turning to stunned silence, as Solo stood over Jacob, his eyes cold, betraying a man who'd fought for their cause. This wasn't just a plot twist, it was a knife in the back, a family member cast aside like he meant nothing. Jey Uso watched from the shadows, his heart pounding. He'd walked away from the Bloodline months ago, tired of Roman Reigns' control and Solo's growing hunger for power. But seeing Jacob, his cousin, his blood, left broken, it hit Jey like a freight train. The man who'd once stood tall with him in the ring was now a victim of the same family he swore to protect. Jey's fists clenched, his mind racing with memories of their childhood, of promises made under the Samoan sun to always have each other's backs. Please like, share and subscribe for more WWE content. Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, stood beside Jey, his own history with the Bloodline a tangled web of rivalry and respect. Cody's no stranger to betrayal, his own battles with trust in WWE have left scars. But as he looked at Jacob, bloodied and alone, something stirred. This wasn't about titles or glory. This was about a man fighting for his life, his legacy, and the family he still believed in. Cody's eyes met Jey's, a silent agreement passing between them. They couldn't let this stand. The crowd roared as Jey and Cody stormed the ring, their entrance music drowned out by the chaos. Tama and Tonga turned, ready to fight, but Jey's fury was unstoppable. He tackled Tama, his strikes fueled by years of loyalty now shattered. Cody pulled Jacob to safety, shielding him from further harm. The fans were on their feet, chanting Jey's name, but his face showed no triumph, only grief. This wasn't the victory he wanted, it was a rescue born from a family's collapse. Backstage, the mood was somber. Jacob, barely conscious, was rushed to medical staff. Whispers of a health crisis spread like wildfire, rumors of a concussion, maybe worse. Jey sat by his cousin's side, his head in his hands. He'd seen Jacob push through pain before, but this was different. The betrayal had cut deeper than any physical wound. Jey's mind flashed to their youth, to Jacob's quiet strength, his unwavering loyalty to the family. How had it come to this? Cody, pacing the hallway, felt the weight of the moment. He'd lost friends to the business, men and women broken by its demands. The thought of Jacob facing a health crisis, possibly life-altering, hit too close to home. Cody remembered his own father, Dusty, and the toll wrestling took on him. He approached Jey, placing a hand on his shoulder. No words were needed, just a shared understanding of loss and the fight to keep going. The scandal of Solo's betrayal rocked the locker room. Wrestlers who'd once feared the Bloodline now whispered about its downfall. Solo's actions weren't just a power grab, they were a declaration of war against his own kin. Roman Reigns, absent from SmackDown, was reportedly furious, his silence deafening. Sources close to the locker room said Roman was grappling with his own guilt, had his leadership pushed Solo to this point. The tribal chief's empire was crumbling, and he wasn't there to stop it. Jey's grief was palpable. He'd lost his brother Jimmy to the Bloodline's chaos before, their bond strained by years of manipulation. Now, Jacob's betrayal felt like another death in the family. Jey confided in a close friend backstage, his voice breaking as he spoke of the nights he and Jacob stayed up dreaming of main event glory. Those dreams now felt like ashes, scattered by Solo's ambition and the family's fractured loyalty. Cody, too, carried his own burdens. The WWE Universe saw him as a hero, but behind the scenes, he wrestled with doubt. Helping Jacob wasn't just about right and wrong, it was about proving to himself that he could rise above the betrayals that had defined his career. Cody had been stabbed in the back by allies before, each wound a reminder of the business's cruelty. Saving Jacob was his way of reclaiming trust, of showing the world that loyalty still mattered. The medical team worked tirelessly on Jacob, their faces grim. A health scare like this wasn't just a storyline, it was a stark reminder of wrestling's physical toll. Jacob's family, watching from afar, feared the worst. His wife, her voice trembling in a phone call to Jay, spoke of their kids, of Jacob's promise to come home safe. The weight of those words crushed Jay, who'd made similar promises to his own family, knowing how fragile they were in this industry. Backstage dynamics were shifting. Wrestlers who'd stayed silent during the Bloodline's reign now spoke up, some offering support to Jay and Cody, others distancing themselves from Solo's new regime. The locker room was a powder keg, with alliances forming and breaking in the wake of the betrayal. One veteran wrestler, speaking anonymously, said Solo's actions had poisoned the family's legacy, a sentiment echoed by fans on social media, who flooded X with messages of shock and sadness. Paul Heyman, the mastermind behind the Bloodline's rise, was nowhere to be found. Rumors swirled that he'd been blindsided by Solo's move, his loyalty to Roman leaving him vulnerable. Some said Heyman was in talks with WWE management, trying to salvage what was left of the faction. Others whispered he was done, his heart broken by the family he'd helped build now tearing itself apart. His absence left a void, a reminder of how quickly trust could unravel. Jay and Cody's alliance was the night's unexpected light. Two men, bound by different paths but united by loss, stood together for Jacob. Their bond wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. Jay saw in Cody a brother he'd lost in Jimmy, a partner who understood the pain of betrayal. Cody saw in Jay a chance to rewrite his own story, to be the hero his father always believed he could be. Their handshake in the medical bay was a silent vow to fight on. The fans, too, felt the emotional weight. Social media erupted with clips of Jay's tearful stare as he watched Jacob being stretchered out. Fans shared stories of their own family struggles, connecting with the raw humanity of the moment. One ex-post read, "Jay's face broke my heart. This is more than wrestling, it's family." The WWE Universe wasn't just watching a show, they were witnessing a real-life drama, one that mirrored their own lives. Jacob's condition remained uncertain as the night wore on. Doctors spoke of tests, of monitoring, but offered no clear answers. Jay stayed by his side, refusing to leave. He thought of their grandfather, Peter Maivia, whose legacy had inspired them all. What would he think of this family, now splintered by greed and betrayal? Jay's heart ached with the thought that their pride, their blood, had become their curse. Cody, meanwhile, faced the press after SmackDown, his voice steady but his eyes heavy. He spoke of Jacob's strength, of Jay's loyalty, and of the need to stand up to those who'd tear others down. But behind his words was a man haunted by the fragility of life in wrestling. Cody's own brushes with injury, with loss, made him cherish every moment he could fight for what was right. He dedicated the night to Jacob, a promise to keep going. The betrayal's fallout was far from over. Solo's actions had drawn a line in the sand, and the WWE Universe knew war was coming. Roman's return loomed like a storm cloud, his reaction unpredictable. Would he side with Jay and Cody, or reclaim his throne with an iron fist? The uncertainty hung heavy, a reminder that in wrestling, as in life, nothing is guaranteed. For Jay, the night was a turning point. He'd spent years torn between family and freedom, loyalty and ambition. Saving Jacob wasn't just about saving a cousin, it was about saving himself. Jay realized that family wasn't just blood, it was the people who stood by you when the world turned dark. Cody, in that moment, became more than an ally, he became family. Cody's own journey mirrored Jay's. The American Nightmare had fought to carve his name in WWE, to honor his father's legacy while escaping his shadow. Helping Jacob, standing with Jay, was Cody's way of proving that legacy wasn't about titles, it was about heart. He thought of Dusty, of the lessons of resilience and compassion, and knew this was what his father would have wanted. The locker room buzzed with speculation about what came next. Would Jacob recover? Could the Bloodline survive this civil war? Wrestlers shared quiet moments of support, some reflecting on their own betrayals, their own health scares. One star, speaking off the record, said, "This business breaks you, but it's the people who keep you whole." That sentiment echoed through the arena, a truth as real as the ring itself. As the night ended, Jay and Cody stood outside the medical bay, the weight of the evening settling on their shoulders. They didn't speak, but their silence said everything. They'd faced betrayal, stared down grief, and fought for a man who represented the best of their world. In that moment, they weren't just wrestlers, they were brothers, bound by a shared fight for something bigger than themselves. The WWE Universe will never forget this night, when the bloodline's cracks became canyons, when Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes became unlikely saviors. It's a reminder that wrestling isn't just spectacle, it's a mirror to our own struggles, our own families. The pain of betrayal, the fear of loss, the hope of redemption, these are universal, and they live in every suplex, every tear, every heartbeat in the ring. This is the heart of wrestling, where love and loss collide, where loyalty is tested, and where legacy is written in blood and sweat. For Jey, for Cody, for Jacob, and for all of us watching, this moment will linger, a testament to the unbreakable bonds we forge, even when the world tries to tear us apart. Keep fighting, keep loving, and never stop believing in the family you choose. Until next time, stay strong, and stay with us for every twist in this unforgettable saga.